Please welcome CVP Security, Vasu Jakal.
All right. Well, good morning, and hope everyone's having a fantastic Ignite. We have a packed agenda for you today where we're going to talk about security and AI and the role of security and all things AI. Because the fervent and the passion around AI is quite amazing, isn't it? And rightfully so. If you look at generative AI, there's so many possibilities that we can unleash together. Whether it's healthcare, where you get personalized treatment in all corners of the world where there was no access to medicine, or in education, a patient tutor for our kids, and you all know what that means for our quality of life, or in sustainability, where we protect our Mother Earth by flagging things like deforestation and preventing them. And finally, right here in security, my favorite space, where I absolutely believe generative AI will be a game changer. In fact, I think security is probably the most critical use case of generative AI. And rightfully so, because if you look at our threat landscape, we live in one of the most complicated cyber landscapes out there today. Identity or password-related attacks have increased from 579 attacks per second in 2021 to 7,000 attacks per second in 2024. And the time that it takes for attackers to access data from, let's say, when a user clicked on a phishing link is in minutes, 72 minutes on average, and coming down. And the number of actors is also growing. Microsoft has the largest threat intelligence in our industry. We process 78 trillion signals every day, and we have a large human intelligence investment. Just year over year, we are tracking more than 5x threat actors across nation state and financial crime. We're tracking 300, we're tracking 1,500. The attack landscape is intense. It has grown 10x. And not just that, our defenders' jobs are getting harder and harder. The operational complexities they face are pretty daunting, with fragmented tools that they have to stitch together when they do not have the talent that they need. There's 4.8 million jobs that are unfulfilled in security today. And let's not forget all the regulations that are coming our way. There's a really great reason for these regulations, but it is challenging to understand and keep up. We're tracking 250 plus regulatory updates every single day. So security teams have to think about identity. They have to think about data security. They have to think about governance, compliance, device management, and then, of course, threat protection. All of this together. No wonder for AI transformation, security needs to be the top priority. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because we started with this ourselves. In November 2023, we launched the Secure Future Initiative to raise the bar of security for Microsoft, as well as for our industry, because we realized that in this age of AI, where the speed, the scale, and the sophistication of attacks and attackers is increasing, we need to think about security differently. And to discuss this, I am thrilled to welcome my dear friend and the leader of our Secure Future Initiative, Joy Chik. Joy? You look great, Joy. Thank you for joining me. Well, I thought we'll get right into it. You have had a frontline seat for the Secure Future Initiative, and it would be great for you to share with our audience today on some of the learnings and the work that has happened for SFI.
Yeah, thank you, Vasu, and it is great to be here. As executive sponsor for SFI, we cover the entire digital estate for Microsoft Cloud and for our customers. Our approach has been grounded in 3 principles: secure by design, secure by default, and secure operations. And our framework has 6 pillars that follow the Zero Trust principles. The first 4 are about protection, And then we cover detection and response. Our protection workstream include modernizing the existing infrastructure so we can reduce our attack surface area, reduce technical debt, and strengthening security controls. We think about layers of terrain that we need to protect, and this includes identity, network, engineering systems, tenants, and production environments. And in addition, for everything we do, we're using paved path or standards, so we don't have to redo things over and over again or reinventing the wheel. And furthermore, we're shifting left. So we are applying the principles of secure by design and secure by default from the start for all the new products and services, so they are born more secure. And for all these practices to stick, we have to change the culture and mindset. And so at Microsoft, this translates to a security core priority for every single person at Microsoft, because we don't think security is just for product teams or engineers. Everyone at Microsoft has a role to play in security. And finally, as engineering, we don't want to self-grade our work, so how it reduces the overall risk. So we have a governance body that's led by CISO with a set of deputy CISOs that together they help us to define and assess risks, prioritize them, and then validate the work we do on an ongoing basis.
Well, Joy, that's pretty amazing. And I love that we have mobilized the equivalent of 34,000 engineers.
Absolutely.
Like probably the largest security engineering effort in the industry. I think one of the things that we hear a lot is this whole culture shift that we've driven, and also the technology shift from a customer standpoint. I know you get asked a lot of times, what are some of these examples that we can share with them? So it would be great for you to list some.
Yeah, in our very first SFI progress report that's back in September, we described a lot of the work that we have accomplished. And we just released our latest update yesterday, which focused on all the learnings and what customers can do to adopt them. So first, we think identity is very much the foundation for Microsoft Cloud and for our customers. So for developers, this means use standardized identity libraries to do token validation in a secure way instead of using passwords for service-to-service communications. And for users, employees, and vendors, and this means you need to do phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication in your environment, like passkeys. We also talk about removing over 5 million tenants from our environment. The reason we had so many tenants because we just created tons of test and demo tenants over the decades, but we never did a rigorous cleanup, or we didn't apply the strongest security controls like MFA for every single users. So now we have a very strict lifecycle management for all the tenants with strong security controls like conditional access policies that's turned on by default. We also automatically delete all these tenants after they have been used. For example, all the Ignite tenants that we are creating, so that they don't litter our environment and increase the potential attack surface area. And we're also using automation to do things like rotating identity signing keys without human intervention, and to scan our environment to remove secrets like passwords from emails, from our code repos and documents. So I really strongly encourage everyone here to read our latest SFI update to learn more about what we are doing and continue to give us feedback.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Thank you, Joy. Now, all of this awesome Secure Future Initiative work is absolutely helping Microsoft become more resilient, more secure, and it's helping us build secure products, like Joy said. At the same time, these learnings are also helping our security products because it creates a flywheel of innovation and flywheel of defense for us. This threat intelligence that we talked about earlier, the 78 trillion signals and the 1,500 actors that we are tracking, along with insights from the incidents that we're facing, help us get greater visibility. That means more detections. Those detections go and power our products. Those products protect our customers, and so on. And this flywheel of defense is powering our end-to-end platform. Microsoft has an AI-first end-to-end platform. We started this journey many years back by unifying and simplifying security. And we brought together consolidating 50 categories into 6 product lines: Defender and Sentinel, which are our threat protection and cloud security and SecOps products; Purview and Priva, data security, governance, privacy; and then, of course, Entra and Intune, which are identity, access, and device management. At the heart of this is Security Copilot, which helps defenders get a leg up and defend at machine speed and scale. And that's integrated into all our products. You're going to hear about all of this from Microsoft security leaders today. And let's start where Zero Trust starts, which is identity, because Joy also wears another hat as the president of our identity and network access team. So with that, Joy, we're going to talk about Entra.
Thank you, Vasu, again. So identity and the network access are the foundation of modern cybersecurity. Threats has always been evolving, so you have to secure access at every level to keep all your users and the resources safe. We know that 84% of attack paths that includes internet exposure, and 66% involves compromised identities. So if you have identity controls over here, and then you have a separate network access controls over somewhere else, without a centralized policy, it is nearly impossible to stay ahead of today's threats. With Microsoft Entra, you can now secure access for any identity from anywhere to any app or resources, including AI agents. And this past July, we announced the Microsoft Entra Suite, a complete zero-trust employee access solution. It includes 2 network access products, private access and internet access, and 3 identity products, Entra ID Governance, Entra ID Protection, and Verified ID. Together, these tools make it easy to enforce unified conditional access policy across identity, endpoint, and network. And today, we're sharing some of the new capabilities in Entra Suite to help you secure access for your workforce. First, Entra Internet Access and the Private Access now support Universal Continuous Access Evaluation, also known as CAE. In the background, CAE evaluates the conditions nonstop. So when there is a change in the risk condition, CAE can automatically invalidate tokens, even before they expire. And then conditional access policy, then when they require re-authentication. This works even for applications that don't support modern authentication methods. Next, SFI has shown us that legacy on-premise resources are a huge challenge. Most organizations do not even know what on-premise apps are in their environment or whether anyone is using them. App discovery in private access will service all your private apps, their destination IP address, plus how many users and devices have accessed them. So this will help you automatically identify private apps, onboarding them to Entra, and create policies to control access. And once you have onboarded your private apps, you can then make it much easier for users to access them. With private DNS, you can configure single labels or host names to enable fast access. And then you can apply MFA and conditional access policies to your private applications, whether they are on-premise or in any private cloud. You can use Entra ID Governance to manage employee access requests. So this ensures that only they get access that they need for as long as they need it with the right business justification. Conditional access always works behind the scene to check the risk signals and access rights before allow users to continue. So if policy requires it, the user will be prompted for MFA. With identity-centric network access, you can give your employees the secure access to individual resources on-premise without a VPN. So you get to strengthen security while they stay productive. We believe that security is a team sport. And that's why we are partnering on deep product integration. And to start, we have integrated advanced threat protection and data loss prevention from Netskope with Entra Internet Access. So you can now access their capabilities directly from our in-product experience. This way, you can combine the power of our identity-centric policy engine with SASE solution of your choice. So I want to thank Netskope for their amazing partnership as we re-envision the SASE solution from all or nothing approach. And we are giving customers the flexibility to combine different components in the way that works best for them. So we very much look forward to creating a strong solution ecosystem with all of our partners. Even with all the protections and integrations that we are adding, hackers are still trying to break in every single second. So you need to react quickly. And we have expanded the skills in Security Copilot for faster insights and response time. It analyzes all your identity access logs. And then it shows you an easy-to-read summary and a response so that you can take actions. More people are using MFA. So malicious actors are finding ways around it, such as adversary in the middle attack. Engaging with a fake email and a sign-in page can compromise your employee's identity, and they may not even know it. Entra ID continuously receives risk signals. So if an employee's risk is high, Entra ID automatically sends an alert to the admin. Instead of having to combing through all the logs, even non-expert can now find out from Copilot why the user's risk is high. It also gives you resources that you and your security operation team can consult to remediate the attack, such as incident response playbook. And in fact, we'll make it even easier for identity and the SOC team to be more proactive and collaborate. Copilot can recommend creating a risk-based conditional access policy to automate responses to threats like adversary in the middle. And Copilot can help guide you on how to set up the policy so you don't have to miss a step. It will surface resources and suggest prompts for you to try. So whether you are troubleshooting a signing or phishing attack, our early research has shown that using Copilot can help reduce your response time by 46% and improve accuracy by 47%. So these are just some of the key announcements from Microsoft Entra. Everything we are doing is designed to strengthening protections and response so that you can stay ahead of the emerging threats. And now to explore more how Intune, Entra, and Copilot all come together, please welcome my friend and colleague Michael Wallen on stage. Thank you.
Thanks, Joy. All right. Thank you, Joy. So I'd be willing to bet that the majority of you are using Intune, and you may not even know what it is. So Intune is our device and application management solution for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and Linux. But there's 3 things that I want to give you in the next 7 minutes. First of all, the connection between Zero Trust and Intune. Secondly, how Security Copilot changes IT administration, and as much excitement about management as I have. So Intune is a core part of Zero Trust, helping to configure and monitor health and compliance across all the endpoints that you need to be secure. Just-in-time and least privilege are key concepts for security generally and for Zero Trust. On Windows, one of the critical methods to achieve this is to have your users be standard user instead of admin, as giving them more privilege can have a big impact. So let me show you how Intune, with the integrated value of Defender, can help you prevent introducing malware into your organization. So here, a user attempts to install a printer driver they've downloaded from a blog. This request, though, is flagged by Endpoint Privilege Management as it doesn't match any pre-approved elevation rules. The user submits this justification for elevated access, which is sent to IT for review. The admin, though, leverages Copilot and Defender Threat Intelligence to quickly assess the file's risk. Now, Copilot identifies the file as malicious, allowing the admin to block the request. So using EPM on your managed endpoints reduces your attack surface, and Copilot can help you understand the safety of your elevations. So I told you before that I was excited about management, but I'm also excited to protect unmanaged devices. Now, we know that more than 90% of ransomware attack cases exploit these unmanaged devices. That means that it's not just typical managed Windows endpoints that need protection. For iOS and Android, Intune has powerful solutions to support productivity and security for unmanaged devices through what we call application management, or MAM. Now, nearly 40% of the mobile devices protected by Intune are unmanaged, and company after company have validated the security of this approach through intensive penetration testing. Last year, though, we released MAM support in Windows with Edge to start to support unmanaged scenarios, but there are other powerful choices there too, because our roots are in Windows after all. Yesterday, Microsoft announced the Windows 365 Link, the first purpose-built device to connect directly to Windows 365. This new device, as well as Windows 365 Cloud PCs, are simple to manage with Intune. So just to reinforce, managing your Windows 365 Cloud PCs are like managing any other Windows device with some extra service controls. It's simple, it's secure, and it's integrated. Now, our investments continue to be focused on providing seamless, dependable experience across every major OS release and with every new device. Working with Apple, we built an automated infrastructure in Intune that detects and exposes new capabilities in iOS, iPadOS, and macOS. This gave you control of critical new features, including Apple Intelligence, and prepared you for the latest operating systems released in September on day 0. Now, we're releasing application protection policies for Microsoft Teams on Vision OS that runs on the Apple Vision Pro. And in the new year, we're going to extend this support to additional Microsoft 365 applications and have our SDK available to third-party applications and release full device management support for both Apple Vision Pro and tvOS. Because let's face it, who doesn't need a managed TV? I know you need a managed TV. So looking back, though, when the pandemic struck, it tested us all like never before. For organizations who had already shifted to a simpler management approach, cloud native, they were able to adapt. And for those who hadn't shifted, they had to accelerate their change. For Intune, it was a defining moment. Defining because we understood the critical trust that you all had placed on us, and I take that so seriously. The scale of our service jumped dramatically, up more than 8x since March 1st, 2020, on top of an already really large number. This scale, managing hundreds of millions of devices around the world and in every industry, government, and school, reinforces our commitment to enable you to adapt and thrive in any landscape. Our Intune mission is to manage the planet's devices simply and securely. And we are partners with you to create your resilient and secure digital estate. Now, fundamentally, managing your digital estate starts with data. With broad understanding of your device landscape, Intune Advanced Analytics can provide deep, detailed device data. In May, we released Single Device Query, which lets you get real-time data from a single device, offering the context you need and a complete view of your device security posture. Now we're releasing this for multiple devices while giving you additional controls for data latency. And we've extended the data set we've extended the data set as to what's available to you. You can now retrieve a range of hardware properties about Windows through Intune Resource Explorer, and you can view specific device information from a profile that you've created to fine-tune what you need with the lowest latency. But today, we're announcing our plans to expand beyond Windows to devices across platforms, giving you a consistent experience for your entire device hardware inventory. But now, I'm really excited because I get to talk about Copilot. And it's with the help of Copilot in Intune that IT and security professionals can easily translate between their business need and all this data. To date, we've rolled out Copilot in Intune for policy creation and troubleshooting scenarios. And recently, we added AI assistance to simplify KQL creation for single device query. This enables IT professionals to simply and quickly find critical data in their endpoint estate without getting into the weeds or precise schema or syntax. And I'm excited that we're bringing that same Copilot assistance for multiple device queries too. So let me show you how this works for a common help desk scenario of an employee reporting troubles with updates. Device Query empowers you to explore your environment across a broad set of properties such as OS version and names. But not everyone knows how to create these KQL queries. Now you can use Copilot to remove this complexity. The admin here can use the AI-generated query to retrieve a list of impacted devices in just a few clicks. Now, additionally, the admin can modify that query to filter or curate the results as they see fit and further refine the results. But having this data without the ability to act is not as helpful. But now you can take immediate action on the set of impacted devices exactly where you're working. In this case, we're going to show running a common remediation on the Windows Update Agent. We are excited about the possibilities of what generative AI can do and transform the way that we get work done. My favorite fact from a recent study is that nearly all respondents, 97 out of a possible 100, expressed a strong desire to use Copilot again for future tasks. But we are far from finished, and that's exciting. So I hope I've left you with three things: the connection between Zero Trust and Intune, how Security Copilot changes IT administration, and as much excitement about management and Intune as I have. So thank you very much, and let me introduce my really good friend and snappy dresser, Rob Lefferts. Hey, Rob.
Thank you. Snappy dresser, huh? Given that my wardrobe is all athleisure, I'm not sure I know what that means, but the good news is I'm always ready for a yoga flash mob if anyone would like to join me. So as Vasu shared in the intro, one of the greatest challenges to achieving strong cyber resiliency are the numerous security silos that actively work against offenders. Attackers have become increasingly efficient at traversing across boundaries and connecting multiple vulnerabilities into a devastating breach. We can no longer afford to work in lists. We have to think like attackers if we are going to defend against them. Joy and Michael showed us how to build a strong Zero Trust foundation with Entra and Intune working in harmony. Now I'd like to show you how our unified security operations platform brings it all together. Our unified platform combines the full capabilities of our entire cloud: Native SIEM, our industry-leading XDR, our unified exposure management, and our cloud security solutions, bringing it all together into a single user experience. And by taking a platform approach, we can bring all of your core security operations capabilities, data, and workflows together where they can be enriched with threat intelligence and accelerated with Gen AI. This not only makes your security teams more effective, but the native integration across the entire security toolset also makes coordinating security programs, policies, and incident response across all the affected teams much more effective. Let me take you for a test drive. This is the homepage of the Defender portal. For many of you, it looks familiar, which is a real win for you and your teams. It's intuitive and laid out the way that you already work. On the homepage, we can see a summary of your security operations. These cards are customizable based on your role and what's most important to you. On the left-hand side, you'll see a comprehensive list of tools. Your endpoint detection and response tool, it's built right in. Identity security, it's right there. SIEM solution, check, also here. And these aren't light versions with new streamlined UI. These are the fully capable tools all in one place. We also have integrated experiences tailored towards different roles. For example, someone working on prevention can see where can they improve defense using attack paths. An analyst can immediately jump into incidents and begin triaging an investigation. Threat hunters can start by absorbing the latest threat intel and then jump right into hunting. But the real power of our platform comes from how we integrate capabilities and workflows across these roles. Let me show you some examples. So we've talked about how to hit the ground running with the first two principles of Zero Trust: verify explicitly and use least privileged access. Our unified platform really embodies the third principle: assume breach, helping defenders systematically work at minimizing the potential blast radius and quickly responding to any incident. This starts with limiting your exposure. Our exposure management solution provides a unified set of capabilities for addressing all of your pre-breach security. And there's two scenarios I really want to highlight for you today: exposure incidents and attack paths. Addressing Zero Trust holistically across your organization is a Herculean effort that comes with a ton of policies, assets, and teams. And let's face it, your to-do list is endless. Exposure management can make this a little easier with the Zero Trust Initiative, delivering a unified view of your organization's readiness, identifying areas that need to be addressed, and offering concrete guidance. Effectively, this centralizes all of your Zero Trust efforts, offering a single view and a prioritized list for all of your teams to work together. So here's just one initiative. You can also track and tackle your exposure across different attack types or across different threat actors. Now let's talk about attack surface. There are many challenges here, but two stand out. First is making sure you have full visibility into your entire attack surface. The second is knowing where to focus your efforts once you have visibility. The average large organization has tens of thousands of exposures, and prioritizing these effectively takes more than just burning down lists of vulnerabilities or configuration problems. Our attack path modeling capability shows how attackers could chain together multiple exposures to breach your organization. Underpinned by the graph that enables our entire security portfolio, attack paths are prioritized based on data sensitivity, severity of vulnerability, and the expertise of our threat researchers. Now, cloud environments are one of the most targeted assets by attackers right now. Let's see how attack paths can help. Here's a specific attack path that involves an internet-exposed container with high-severity vulnerabilities. This container is connected to a managed identity with permissions to access an Azure storage account containing sensitive data. This configuration could allow an attacker to move laterally from the container to access sensitive data in the storage account. And by opening up the attack map, we can visualize all of these connections and identify potential points of exposure. So this Hello Contoso container has been flagged because of specific vulnerabilities based on its image. It's also linked to a managed identity, which has access permissions to the sensitive storage account. And this managed identity is critical. It acts like a bridge between the internet-exposed container and the storage account. And if left unmitigated, an attacker could exploit this path to access and then exfiltrate sensitive data. Addressing this is as easy as following the recommendations specific to this attack path. Each recommendation includes specific remediation steps, such as restricting permissions or updating container configurations. And it underscores the power of Microsoft's posture management capabilities in visualizing and mitigating high-risk attack paths. By filtering based on risk level and following actionable recommendations, we can strengthen our security posture and protect sensitive assets more effectively. So please try exposure management today. Okay, so what about when a breach does happen? Let's hop over to the incident queue and take a look. This is our unified incident queue, which brings together all of the alerts across all of our Defender products, Sentinel, Entra, and Purview, and delivers an XDR-level incident investigation experience. Continuing with the cloud attack theme, it looks like we have a multi-stage, multi-cloud incident that includes credential access and to cloud resources to exfiltrate sensitive data. This incident includes a critical asset with 19 active alerts, an indication of really significant malicious activity. In other words, things are on fire. With the incident open, we can see that Security Copilot helps analysts get up to speed quickly, summarizing the incident and providing recommendations to immediately limit the blast radius. In the middle of the page, we see a comprehensive graph that extracts and connects relevant entities involved in the incident. And by reviewing the incident details, we observe multiple alerts from different detection providers. And this correlation allows us to understand that whole attack narrative without having to do any manual alert correlation. For example, we see a brute force attempt on an AWS RDS resource indicating unauthorized access attempts. Furthermore, there's evidence of malicious activities such as a suspicious API request made through a proxy IP and potentially harmful commands executed from flagged IPs. Now, Copilot is recommending a specific pod, App4, which is likely compromised and could be leveraged for further malicious activity. So now we can initiate a new cloud-native response directly through the Defender XDR portal. And upon confirmation, the isolation is executed within seconds, ensuring that this can no longer be used for malicious activities. This truly highlights the power of Defender XDR, combined with Defender for Cloud, in streamlining the detection and response for cloud attacks. And by leveraging AI-driven insights and unified response actions, defenders are empowered to respond to cloud threats faster and more effectively. There's one more feature I want to share before we end this test drive. One of the most consistent things that I hear from CISOs and SOC leaders is how can they get the most out of their SIEM and/or XDR solution. Data ingestion is not free. And even if you have to ingest everything, it doesn't automatically make you better or smarter. Your coverage is only as good as your detection rules. Last year, we announced a new feature called SOC Optimizations, which provides recommendations on how to fine-tune your data ingestion, detection rules, and more based on your unique threat exposure and security toolset. Here's a recommendation on how to improve coverage against human-operated ransomware, showing where we have room for improvements against the MITRE ATT&CK framework, and identifying that we have 29 new analytic rules that we could easily implement to improve coverage. Our research shows that customers using SOC optimizations increase their data utilization by 30%, and they improve protection by 17%, all while reducing the workload on SOC engineers. As you can see from our test drive, the native integration across the entire portfolio delivers tremendous value to your teams and ultimately better protection. This really enables your team to build a closed-loop approach to threat protection, one where the system begins to build some immunity and defenders are empowered, not inhibited. And with that, let's bring back the actually well-dressed and always inspirational Vasu to close us out. Thank you.
Right back at you, Rob. Look at you. Great job.
Thank you.
Well, I am back. Thank you again, Rob. What a great test drive of the unified SecOps platform. Now, as you have seen throughout our presentation here, we have been hard at work building Security Copilot into all parts of our Microsoft Security portfolio. With Security Copilot embedded in Defender, Purview, Entra, Intune, members of the IT team and the security team can be more efficient and more effective. Look, I'm so optimistic about what they can do with the power of generative AI. We're seeing this in action. You've seen so many of the statistics that our customers have shared with us. And when we looked at how Copilot helped Entra and Intune admins in a controlled study, we saw that they were 30% faster and 35% more accurate in tasks like troubleshooting and policy creation. Important things that take a lot of time. In another study, we saw security teams were 30% faster at resolving incidents, and in a Forrester survey, decision makers said that they experienced or expected to see 17% fewer breaches. 17% fewer breaches. That's pretty astounding. So now let's look at the second side of the AI coin, which is all about how do you secure and govern AI for every single user in the organization. Satya talked about Purview being one of our most consequential products because Purview does data security, compliance, and data governance. And to talk about the important innovations that we are doing for security for AI, including Purview, I wanted to invite my dear friend, Hiren Oberoi, who is the Purview General Manager. So Hiren, I wish I had some like your snappy dresser or something like that.
Thanks, Vasu. All right, so almost every organization that I meet with is looking at figuring out how can AI transform the industry and business. And like we went through waves of transformation, first with the web, then with mobile, then the cloud, we're now going through another significant shift, which is AI. So for a successful AI transformation, it needs to start with security first. At RSA earlier this year, in May, we were the first security vendor to provide capabilities to secure and govern AI across data security and compliance, posture management, and threat protection. This is for both pre-built and custom-built apps. Now, we have the privilege of being able to work with tens of thousands of customers using GenAI apps like Microsoft 365 Copilot and building AI apps on platforms like Copilot Studio and Azure AI Foundry. Now, because of this, we get extremely clear feedback from the customers on their security needs and requirements, and we feel this accountability to innovate at an extremely fast pace to meet those needs. So since May, we've continued to accelerate our pace of innovation and have shipped more than 30 new capabilities across Purview, Defender, and Azure AI. Now, with this accelerated pace of innovation, we're able to push into new market categories like safety systems with capabilities like detecting insider risks from prompt injection attacks, and in AI governance with capabilities like the ability to enforce deployment policies on AI models. So let's start with some of the top challenges that we're hearing and seeing from our customers over here. So the first is data leaks. Data leaks and data oversharing consistently comes up as a top concern. When it comes to deploying GenAI at scale, it turns out that data does, now second is it turns out data doesn't move itself. It's people who move and interact with data. So the related concern here is the data loss that happens from either negligent or malicious insiders. So to help our customers address these challenges, yesterday we announced new capabilities to prevent data oversharing and detect insider risks when using Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now, first, we have generally available data security posture management for AI. This gives you a unified view of all your data security risks all in one place. Next, we enable DLP for Microsoft 365 Copilot, so you can use sensitivity labels to exclude sensitive documents or entire SharePoint sites from being processed by Copilot. And last, we allow you to detect the risky use of your AI, such as data theft, prompt injection attacks, or copyright violations from insiders. So let's take a look. Now, in DSPM for AI, you get insights on how your AI is being used, like what sensitive data is being shared in different AI apps and user risk based on the AI use. You can create your own data oversharing assessments for specific data sources and users. Based on this assessment, you now get recommendations and step-by-step guidance to configure a policy to prevent Copilot from processing data related to that confidential project. You can do this by selecting the Obsidian merger sensitivity label and then check the exclude content from processing box. Now, when the end user asks Copilot to summarize the confidential document, the policy kicks in and it prevents Copilot from processing the file. Now, if the user continues to try other ways to access confidential information, Purview will trigger an insider risk alert for investigation. Now, here in Insider Risk Management, you can see the user recently submitted their resignation. They attempted a prompt injection attack. The user then did a sequence of steps, removing the label from the document, and then asked Copilot to summarize it. Because the label had been removed, the summary did not inherit the sensitivity label, and the user exfiltrated the document to a USB drive. Now, based on this, the user is now categorized at an elevated risk level. And you can now enforce dynamic policies using adaptive protection to completely block this risky user from accessing Copilot. Others in your organization that don't have the same risk level can continue to access the app, allowing you to balance both the security of your data and the productivity of your users. Now, let's switch gears and talk about custom agents built with Copilot Studio. Today, we have over 50,000 organizations using Copilot Studio to create custom agents in a low-code and no-code way. And the same challenges we just saw to secure and govern data in Microsoft 365 Copilot are just as relevant for custom agents built with Copilot Studio. So to address this, yesterday we also announced data security posture management, insider risk management, and data compliance controls for agents built in Copilot Studio. With these new capabilities, you can get the visibility to discover both the usage and data risk of users interacting with custom agents. You can also apply compliance controls like retention and archiving, as well as auditing, to meet your compliance obligations. Now, the next set of requirements we hear from customers consistently is the increased need for governance and vulnerability models, management of AI models. Most enterprises today are either planning or already developing custom AI apps. And more than half of those apps will use open source models, which can expose you to new vulnerabilities. So another set of capabilities we announced yesterday was the preview of AI model governance in Azure and the general availability of AI security posture management in Defender for Cloud. Now, with model governance, you can explicitly block or sanction AI models that you want your organization to use. And with security posture management, you can inventory your AI assets, proactively manage your vulnerabilities, and map out potential attack paths to prevent future incidents. So let's take a look. Now, here in Azure AI Portal, a policy has been configured to specify GPT-4 models as approved models to be deployed. Now, when a developer attempts to deploy a GPT 3.5 model in the model catalog, they'll be blocked with a notification that informs them that this model is restricted by an admin policy. This helps security teams limit the potential risk of exposure from open models. Now, in addition to governing model deployment, security teams also need to proactively identify vulnerabilities once the AI app has been deployed. And so here in Defender for Cloud, you can filter for Azure OpenAI resources and can see that a medium risk attack path has been flagged for review. You can see the entire attack path here, showing that a VM is exposed to the internet, and bad actors can exploit this path to access other AI resources in Azure. You can now click into the virtual machine to find more information about this vulnerability, and then get recommendations to mitigate the risks. So collectively, these capabilities allow you to proactively strengthen your security posture and address vulnerabilities to prevent future incidents. Now, the last set of requirements we keep hearing about is on regulations. The EU AI Act in particular will be enforced in phases starting in February, and organizations are looking for us to help them figure out what they need to do to be compliant. So to meet this set of needs, we shipped 2 new capabilities yesterday. The first is a set of compliance assessment templates in Compliance Manager that are now generally available. These templates allow you to perform a self-assessment, and they give you a compliance score. They then give you step-by-step guidance on the controls you need to implement to meet those compliance obligations. This includes templates for the EU AI Act, NIST Risk Management Framework, and then 2 specific AI-specific ISO standards. The second announcement was the ability for developers to publish AI reports that include project details like model versioning, content filter configurations, evaluation metrics, and this will help you prepare for potential audits of AI apps, and it'll allow you to meet your future regulatory and compliance requirements. So, to wrap this up, I feel incredibly privileged and excited to be part of this wave where we can deliver end-to-end value so you can accelerate your transformation in security in a security-first way. So with that, back to you, Vasu. Thank you.
Nice job. Thank you, Hiren. Nice job. All right. So hopefully you got a great flavor of what we are doing in our innovations here at Microsoft. We're using AI for security with Security Copilot, and we're securing AI. And we're building out a platform which truly can protect our organizations and customers across the world end-to-end. I also hope you're as inspired as I am for the possibilities of what this means for our world and for how we can really protect our customers and organizations together. Security, after all, is a team sport. And I hope you will join us in working together to build a safer world for all. Thank you so much again for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you throughout the day. Take care.